Hi, welcome to my channel Inspiration Always. I am Preeti and today we'll be solving the mystery of physical being and non-physical being. What exactly is physical being? What exactly is non-physical being? Why we should be bothered about? Why should we need to know about this physical being and non-physical being? How is it related to my life? Is it affecting me personally? If it's not affecting me personally, why should I be learning it? So we'll be answering all those questions in this video. Why is it important for you to learn? Why is it important for you to know? It's very much related to our personal lives. It's very much related to your own core being. How I'll share in my video. First of all, I would like to say thanks to those who have already subscribed my channel, and those who have not yet subscribed, I would request you to please subscribe by touching that subscribe word that is written in red color below this video, and at the end of the video you may also like my video by touching the thumbs up button. So let's start. What's the difference between physical being and non-physical being, and how is it related to my personal life? So stay tuned till the end. Let me share an example with you first. You must have seen that when we visit a hospital, in hospital usually the healthcare professionals, they call the patient by name. Even among themselves they would call the patient by name. They would talk to each other by the name of the patient. For example, the doctor would tell the nurse to shift the patient to the OT, so he would say shift John to OT if the patient's name is John, or Mary, so he would say, okay, bring Mary into the investigation room. So this is how they talk to each other, and they talk to the patient as well. Suppose there is a road traffic accident and a patient goes to the hospital and he is in a very serious condition. The doctor would tell the nurse and his co-workers that shift the patient to the OT, or operation theatre. And suppose if they perform the surgery was very complicated, he would say, now shift the patient to the ICU. So patient is shifted to the ICU, but suppose unfortunately he doesn't survive. In that case, he would say at the end, hand over the body to the relatives. So the patient who had come into the hospital was a patient, or you may say that he had some name like John or Mary or something like that. But suppose if he doesn't survive in that condition, the doctor says John's body or Mary's body, hand over this Mary's body to the relatives of the patient. So in such a case, what's the difference? We must understand what's the difference, why the patient became body all of a sudden. What was there in it which was there before when he or she had come to the hospital at that time? Why he was named as patient, or why was he called by name? But after that, after he expired, why did we say that John's body, Mary's body, or hand over the body to the relative of John and Mary, and so whatsoever? What was the difference? The body is the same. What was missing now which was there earlier? Why they are just using this word body for it now? In English we always say when somebody's death occurs, in that case we say that person passed away. So he or she passed away. Passed away. Who passed away? If we think that we are this body, then who passed away? So that means there is something which was separate from the body. This body belonged to whom? That energy has passed away. That energy has gone away. And we are not able to see that in our lifetime. We only see which we can see through these eyes, or microscopically, or whatever device a man has invented through these physical sense organs. So only those things can be seen with these eyes or with the help of those devices. But there are so many things which a man cannot see. For example, have you seen gravitational force? How do you know that gravitational force is there? You come to know that gravitational force is there if objects are falling down. How did Newton came to this conclusion that gravitational force or law of gravity is there? because he observed an apple falling down, all objects were falling down. Even if you throw up the objects in the sky, eventually they would fall down. Why they fall down? It's because of the law of gravity or the gravitational force. So we have not seen gravitational force, but we understand by the effect of gravitational force, the effect it causes. From that we conclude if gravity is there or if gravity is not there, or if gravity is lesser than as compared to earth. For example, we say that moon has 1/6 of earth's gravity. How do we conclude that? We don't have any instruments to measure it. Yes, we have formulas, but before inventing those formulas, before discovering those formulas also, we had concluded in our minds that it has lesser gravity. But how do we know that? We know that by these effects which we can see, like you remain suspended in space if you go in space. Objects, they don't fall when they are, so space has zero gravity. So we have concluded after seeing the effect of whatever that force or energy causes. Similarly, electricity, you don't see electricity usually on a daily basis, but you find out. How do you find out electricity is there or not? You switch on the light, you switch on the fan, and if fan is working, light is working, in that case you conclude that yes, electricity is there. And suppose if they don't function, then we conclude that electricity is not there, supply is not there. So many things. Heat energy we haven't seen, but we have seen if we keep a cold object close to a hotter object, the temperature of both the objects change. The hotter object becomes colder and the colder object becomes hotter. So we say that heat energy is transferred from higher temperature to lower temperature. So it shifts from higher to low. Energy goes from high to low. So this is how we understand, because we have observed so many things. So after our observations, we have concluded to so many things, but actually we don't see them. Same way we conclude that life is also an energy. So if energy is there in the body, we see that pulse is there, heart rate is there, respiratory rate is there. We can actually see them, we can actually count it. So accordingly we conclude that yes, life is there, that means energy is there. If heart rate is not there, pulse is missing, respiration is not there, in that case we conclude that life is gone. So that energy has gone. Although the body is still in front of us, but still we would say it as a body, we would not say it as a being, we would not say it as a person, we would say it as a body. So there's a difference between body and a being. So being is not actually the body, being is the one which was running that body, which was controlling that body. So what that being is. So we have used this word very often, and we always say, may his soul rest in peace. May whose soul rest in peace. If soul has a body or body has a soul, so that power or that energy which is controlling the other part, and the other part cannot do anything without that energy, then which one is the stronger? We call that this body belongs to that energy. Energy doesn't belong to body, but body belongs to the energy, because energy is controlling the body, it is making the body function. You can take it as an example of a car and a driver. So driver is driving the car doesn't run on its own. There has to be a driver to run the car, to drive the car. So in same way, body cannot work on its own. This mouth cannot speak, eyes cannot see, ears cannot listen, hands cannot work, legs cannot walk without soul. The soul is controlling all the functions. But how does it control all those functions being in the body? So let's go deeper into it. Like driver has to sit in the driver's seat to drive the car. Like driver has to sit in the driver's seat to drive the car. Same way, soul has to sit in the place where it can drive the whole body. What should be that place? Why can't that driver who's driving the car can drive the car from back seat? Is it possible that driver can sit in the back seat and still drive the car? No, it isn't possible. He has to sit on the driver's seat. So even soul has a seat. It can drive the whole body only when it is seated in its own seat. And what that seat is, Its seat is between hypothalamus and pituitary gland. As we know, brain is the master organ of all the organs of our body, and it controls all the functions of our body, and that is the master organ, and that master organ is controlled by the soul, the energy. That is the non-physical being. So physical being is this whole body, and non-physical being is that energy which is controlling this body. So this is that non-physical being, and that non-physical being is much more powerful than the physical being. It has unlimited powers if we truly understand and realize, and when we understand it, we would find that we have lot of potential, lot of powers inside us which we don't make use of. In this video I would give a glimpse of it, and in my future videos I'll be sharing more in detail what powers does the soul have. But in current video I would be sharing how does the soul work, how does this energy work. You may say it consciousness, some people call it the being, some people call it inner being, some people call it consciousness, some people call it soul. In our religious scriptures it has been written as a soul. So whatever it is, but it is the energy which is controlling this whole body and which is running this whole body. And how does it function? It can be compared to a computer operator in a computer. Our brain is just like a computer. Like computer is controlling many functions. Artificial intelligence we know nowadays. Same way our soul is controlling this brain, and through this brain and central nervous system it is controlling the whole body and functions of the whole body. So we have to understand the difference of physical being and non-physical being, and how do they work and what do they need to work. As far as physical being is concerned, we all know what it needs. We all know it needs food, water, oxygen, whatsoever. You all know that. We need air to breathe. So when we say that oxygen level is low here, how do you know that oxygen is low? You don't have any measuring or some kind of a device where you can measure the oxygen, but you find it out just by your experience. If you are not able to breathe properly, you would say oxygen is low. If you are able to breathe freely, you would say yes, oxygen is surplus or oxygen is in adequate quantity. So this is how you ascertain the presence of oxygen and lack of oxygen anywhere. Similarly, by being's actions we come to know the power of the soul, how much weak it is, how much powerful it is. This is from the observations, from the conclusions we make by the functioning of the whole being as such. So physical being and non-physical being. Physical being, we understand that for physical being we need to have proper food, healthy food, nutritious food. I would not go into the details about it because you already know much about it, what we should eat, what we should not eat, what may cause infections to the body, and what to do to protect body from catching the infections, how to increase your immunity. Nowadays everybody is becoming aware of how to increase the immunity of the physical being, but how to increase the immunity of non-physical being nobody knows and nobody understands and nobody talks about. So in this video I'll be talking about the immunity of non-physical being, how it is raised and what is the basic nutrition of the non-physical being. So if we again go to that example of the car and the driver, in case a car has some problem, you would take it to the service station and you would get it repaired by a service engineer, or some mechanic would be repairing the car and he would do all the servicing and all of the car. And you need to have adequate amount of fuel, adequate quantity of fuel in the car so that you can drive the car. Suppose if the tank is full and the car is maintained and you got it servicing done and the service engineer says that it's in perfect condition and you can drive the car, but suppose if the driver has not eaten food for, you can say, 5 days, and he has not slept for 4 days, would he be able to drive the car? No. So to drive a car properly, driver also has to take adequate rest, he also has to take adequate quantity of food, and he has to be healthy himself. Suppose if a driver has infection or he is sick, he would not be able to drive the car even if the car is in a perfect condition. And suppose if driver fell sick Would he go to the service engineer or he would go to the service station to get well? No, he would go to the doctor. So he has a different system. Doctor has studied the anatomy of the body and the physical being, so he knows how a physical being could be treated. Similarly, the service engineer who has become an expert in the system of the car, he would be able to maintain the car well. So for car, you would go to the service engineer. For driver, you would go to the doctor. Now put this example to the body and the soul. Body is the car, the physical being is the car, and for physical being, you are going to the doctor, you are getting all the investigations done, he is giving you all the treatments, you are taking proper nutrition and you are taking precautions and you are maintaining the body well. That means the car is well. But what about the driver? Have you ever thought what food the driver needs, what kind of treatment driver needs, the soul needs if the soul gets some infection, and what kinds of infections a soul can have? What is the healthy nutrition for the soul, and should you be feeding the soul with on daily basis, or you should be neglecting it? You don't need any food for the soul, you don't need any fuel for the soul. So in this video I would be sharing that. If at all souls need food, what food would it need? It would need positive thoughts, positive emotions. You must have experienced when you were in a happy mood, when you were thinking positive things in your life, when you are looking at the positive side, the good side of the life, you were feeling happy, you felt energetic, you were enthusiastic, and you had a lot of stamina. And even after doing hard work, you did not feel that much tired. But suppose when you are feeling low, when you have some depressing thoughts, or when you are sorrowful, or you have some miseries in life and you are not feeling good, in that case, even a small task seems heavier. You feel tired after doing even a little bit of work, and you don't feel that enthusiasm, you feel lethargic whole day, you don't have that much of energy to move on to things and focus on your work. So what are these symptoms of? Is there any problem in the body, or is the problem with the soul? So this is the problem with the soul, this is the problem with the driver. So suppose you would find so many cases. If you go to the doctor and the hospitals, you would know that there are so many patients who are coming to them and they complain of, you can say, insomnia or lethargy or weakness, debility, loss of strength. And when they get the investigations done, everything seems fine, reports are normal, everything is normal, and still the patient feels all kinds of vague pains in his body, lack of energy in his body. What is that? Even doctors fail to understand. Finally, they would tell them to meditate, take less stress, they would give them multivitamins or supplements or some health tonics, but they fail to understand, and they finally understand that probably they are undergoing some kind of stress. So they would ask them to relax and do some yoga or go out and refresh themselves. So they can sense it that it's not the problem in the body, it's the problem with the mind. So let us see if the mind is in the body or if it's mind in the soul. Suppose if you abuse a dead body, you call names on the dead body, or you put some wrong allegations on the dead body, or you defame a dead body, or you talk rubbish about a dead body, would that dead body react? Would it say, why are you doing this to me? And how could you say like that? Would that dead body say anything to you? Would it answer back to you? No. If you pinch a living being, if you pinch a human being, if you prick a pin on the hand of living being or a human being, he would scream. And if you cut dead body into 100 pieces, it would not scream. So does the body react or does the soul react? Who feels the pain? Who has all those kinds of emotions on defamation, on wrong allegations, on calling out names? Who's reacting, the body or the soul? Of course, the soul. So when soul is reacting, that means the mind is in the soul, mind is not in the body. Brain and mind are two separate things. Brain is a organ, brain is a structure, brain is a physical part, that is the part of physical being, and mind is the part of non-physical being. Mind is the thought power, power to think, that is mind, and that is in the soul, that is in the non-physical being, that is not in the physical being. So if we differentiate between the physical being and non-physical being and how do they work, then we would be able to manage our lives in a better way. Mind is the one which creates thoughts, which experiences different emotions, and negative emotions make it weaker and positive emotions make it healthier. So we know that love, kindness, compassion, they are healthier emotions and they give energy to the soul, to the being, and other emotions, the negative emotions, fear, sadness, anger, these take away the energy of the being. So now we know that food of soul is positive thoughts and positive emotions, and we have to protect ourselves from any kind of infection. What is that infection? That infection is all those negative information we take on the social media, on the news, or with the people whom we talk. If they talk about some negative things and negative side of the life, then those are the infections which we carry, which we catch. Just a simple example, it's kind of a flu. Like in flu, it's contagious. Similarly, this negativity is contagious. One person tells negative things to the other person, the other person passes it on. So this is how we catch the infection. The soul catches the infection and we become negative. We have all those negative emotions and negative thoughts in our life. So to save ourselves from getting that infection, we have to curtail on the social media. We have to filter out what information, what feeding we have to give to our mind. What information should I feed my mind? What I feed my soul? So I have to focus on healthy nutrition, that is healthy positive emotions, healthy positive thoughts. I need to take in more and more on a daily basis. That will give energy to my soul, that will keep my soul healthy. And suppose if a soul catches infection, then who would do the treatment? Because doctor has studied the anatomy of the body of the physical being, so he would take care of the physical being, but who would take care of non-physical being? Let's take another example, like a mobile. Mobile has a battery inside it. If you take the battery out, mobile will not function. Same way, if you take the soul out, the body will not function. So soul is the battery of this body called mobile, or mobile called body. So when soul is controlling this body, soul is running this body, it has to be charged always. So even the battery of the soul gets discharged. So how we recharge the battery of the soul? We recharge that battery of the mobile with the source of electricity, with the power of electricity. And where do we charge our souls? So we charge it from the supreme power, the higher being, the unlimited being that we also know as God. So that is the being whose stocks never get empty, never get stock out. They are always full because he never gets into the cycle of birth and death, and he's free from all these worries and anxieties. So he never gets depleted. That's why we say that he is neither female nor male. That's why I say God has no gender and God is one, because God is also an energy. It's also a soul, but it is a supreme soul. It is supreme in its powers, supreme in its virtues, supreme in its qualities, and his powers never get diminished. But soul's power definitely gets diminished, and after connecting with the supreme soul, we can recharge our soul. So when we recharge the battery of the mobile, we plug in the socket and we switch on so that the mobile gets charged. Suppose if you put the plug in the socket but you don't switch on, in that case, even if the plug is there inside the socket for whole day, for 24 hours, 48 hours, mobile would not get charged, the battery would not get charged. So it would get charged only when you switch on. Same way, when we switch on the consciousness of our true being, so that is my true being, which is me, which is I, and I am a soul. I am not this body. So my connection also with the souls, not with the bodies. That's why we say, may his soul rest in peace, because even if body is no longer there, we still keep praying for that soul. And we connect with the soul. So our connection is with the soul, our connection is with the being, our connection is with the non-physical, not the physical. But yes, through these eyes we see only the physical. So we have to understand this difference between physical and non-physical being. That is my true identity. My true identity is not what I possess. My true identity is not what I do to earn my living. My identity is not what I have studied. My identity is also not what's my name. That is the name of this body. When this body would not be there, when I leave this body, this name also would be perished. So this name is not also me. Same way, whatever I've studied, it's not me. The parents to whom I belong, those are also temporary. When you leave this body, those also are no longer there, and you get new parents in your new birth. Many people may differ here that they don't believe in rebirth, but we would continue that in our next video. In my future videos, I would be sharing about if there is a rebirth or not. But let us first focus on the physical being and the non-physical being. When we talk about soul, we say it is imperishable. We say energy never, you can say, gets diminished. It changes its form, and energy always travels from higher concentration to lower concentration. So similarly, when God is full of energy, his stocks are always full. So always we get energy from him, and he radiates energy to us. So in that case, the whole world is because of some or the other energy which is making these things function. Everything is functioning because of some or the other energy or the force. So whatever that force or energy is, we name it. This is the life force, this is the life energy, this is the non-physical being which is controlling this physical being. We have to care for both, we have to take care of both. Just taking care of the physical being would not help. We have to take care of the non-physical being as well. So we have to recharge our non-physical being, we have to focus on our non-physical being, we have to understand what precautions should we take to prevent our non-physical being from catching any infection, and how to keep it ever healthy. That we must learn. Like a driver must learn, he must have the know-how of the car. He must know how to change the punctured tire, how to use stepney, how to troubleshoot whenever he gets into the trouble, the car gets into the trouble. Similarly, you must have the knowledge of both physical being and non-physical being. Although we are taking too much information about the physical being because that is in surplus and everybody has researched on physical being, and that is too obvious. That's why it comes very easy and natural for us to understand the physical being, but it's equally easy to understand non-physical being also. But first we have to make it a priority. We have to understand that we have to take a balance of both. We have to keep the balance of both. We have to take care of physical as well as non-physical being. So we have to give good positive thoughts as food of thought. We say we have to feed our minds with good positive thoughts. That is the energy for my soul, and I don't deplete my energy. I don't eat junk food, don't eat stale food. If we keep thinking about the past or talking about the past, that is like eating stale food. So I have to just eat fresh food, so being in the present moment. This is just taking care of non-physical being. And similarly, by charging myself, by charging my inner being, that is my non-physical being, by connection with God or supreme being or higher source, whatsoever you call it, when you connect with that energy, then you recharge your non-physical being. Although its energy is always unlimited, but when it comes in close connection with the body and it forgets itself and it gets entangled into the physical world, it loses its powers, it doesn't realize. So when you switch on the consciousness of non-physical being, that I am a non-physical being, I am unlimited, then those powers which have got dormant, latent, they would come to the surface, and with the help of that consciousness, with the help of that connection with God, I would be able to re-energize myself. And that connection with God, you have to remove that consciousness of physical being. You have, for temporarily, for some time, when you're making the connection with the non-physical being and the higher being, in that case you have to forego this physical being. That is just removing the consciousness at that particular time about your physical being. This is just like a rubber coating. When you try to join two electrical wires, one of them is having the current and you want that current to pass on to the other wire also, you would remove the rubber coating of both the wires. You would just join the nude wires and then only the current will pass. Similarly, this consciousness of body is the rubber coating. We have to remove this rubber coating from our minds so that we can connect with the God, and we can let his current pass through us, pass to us, and energize ourselves. So this is what we do when we remember God and in true form. So we have to understand first our own true form and the true form of God. So in my upcoming videos, I would be sharing this more in detail so that it becomes easier for you to understand how to connect with it. And this doesn't mean that you would be disconnecting from the physical world, no, but you would be connecting more with the physical world with awareness, with greater consciousness. You would still be using, because without physical being you would not be able to work, so both are required. But in that case you would be mastering the physical world, you would be mastering the physical being when you are more aware of the non-physical being. So in my future videos I would be sharing about that. Thanks for watching this video patiently. Thanks for your love and support and your cooperation. Thanks for being there. Thank you.